So, with results going our way on Friday night, Plymouth falling down to a 2-0 defeat at home against Port Vale in second half, and Ipswich dropping 2 points with a last-minute injury time equaliser for Fleetwood at their place. Actually, Fleetwood had then had a man sent off after goal-deep injury time. But with both those results, Wednesday had for the first time this season the opportunity to take top place. Unfortunately for Wednesday, the game was away at Pride Park, a ground where traditionally we never get a result. Was today a good result? Overall, yeah, I think it were. They're not a bad side. Derby. We always have trouble when we go there. Even when I was a kid, we always had trouble when we went there. So not one day for years. They were always going to be up for it. Paul Warne as well. A manager who seems to have a bit of a voodoo thing on Wednesday. He knows how to get a result against Wednesday. Knows how to set a team up against Wednesday. So all in, quite pleased with a point from there. Genuinely. Alright, Wednesday's line-up then. Well, we had to make some changes. No place in the squad for Windass, Gregory or Ehekwe, all injured. That meant changes for Wednesday. So, Stockdale in goal. Back three, quite surprisingly, really, of Palmer, McGuinness and James at the back. Iofa at right wing-back, Johnson at left wing-back, midfield three of Volks, Bannon and Delabishiro, and a front pairing for the first time of Smith and Myton. Now, one of the big talking points obviously there is Wiley and Palmer at centre half and Dominic Iofa at right wing back. Palmer is better at ball going forward, he's a better deliverer of the ball, better passer of the ball, so wouldn't it make sense to put him the other way around? In a back four possibly, but in a back three Iofa struggled this season. That's not pulling him out or being nasty, that's just a fact. He's struggled in the back three, especially when defending crosses, so perhaps if we'd gone from a four from the start he'd have been in there, but managers looked at it and decided he prefers Palmer in the back three and Iofa out wide. Johnson came in on the left hand side, actually one of the bright sparks in the first half, and Myton up front. I can sort of understand that. We've got no Gregory. We could have played Patterson up there with Smith, but that's two big lads. But I think the real key here is, away from home, they're probably expecting Derby to have a bit of a go at us. So he's probably looking and thinking, can I inject a bit of pace into the front line on counter-attack? When you look around the squad, that's the one thing we're probably desperately short of, is pace. Especially with Windass being out, we ain't got anyone to really stretch teams. So I think managers probably looked at it and thought, well, Myton is quick. If he can get around Smithy for flick-ons and stuff like that, and little 1-2s and give goals, maybe that can get something going forward. Of course, best laid plans of mice and men, though, innit? Because you can plan as much as you want, but once players aren't park, they've got to take responsibility. And that was the one area today that I thought were lacking from Wednesday, is the passing. The passing weren't there. Passing into space, but nobody's made the run. Passing into feet, it's slightly behind, and people's having to get their head down and look to get it under control, rather than when you pass it in front of somebody and they can receive and they've already got their head up. When it's right in there, a lot of that going on. A bit of miscommunication. A couple of times we saw a little slip through ball through midfield, but people have made wrong run, they hadn't curved run or whatever, so really frustrating game for Wednesday in terms of the passing, probably until the last 10 minutes when suddenly we seemed to get it going. The bright sparks for Wednesday in first half were probably the build-up play down the left-hand side. Reece James had a real good game. And Marvin Johnson, I thought he was back and showing a bit of spark. He's not had best start to the season, I don't think. He's just had a spell out at side. But I thought he was good, put a couple of really good deliveries in. And there was a sort of little triangle there with James, Johnson and Bannon just in that inside position. There was a lot of good link play there. Martin kept drifting out there as well, which added to the impetus down the left-hand side, but then it then did leave Smith a little bit isolated when we were getting crosses into the box. First half, really, though, Wednesday didn't really create anything. We were quite solid in our defensive work. Apart from McGuinness, he keeps the ball in on the near side, heads it back into play, and their lad gets away, cuts ball back, and Stockdale makes a smart save from McGoldrick. Trying to think, it was a really dull half of football, a dreary game. McGoldrick had another one. He had a shot from about 20 yards that Stockdale smothered quite easily. But other than that, it was a really dull half of football. I don't know if we've been a bit spoilt with World Cup, and this is sort of bringing us back down to earth, but I was expecting something a little bit better. Second half's a bit more lively. They have an attack from the start. Reece James gets up well, wins an header, and Marvin Johnson wins a brilliant tackle on their winger. Absolutely fantastic tackle. And he looked like he got bit between his teeth today. That was really pleasing to see. He was having a go at his man. He was trying to beat a man, trying to get a delivery in, but he was doing his defensive work as well. He was getting up and down. It's not his most comfortable part of his game, but put some really good tackles in today as well. Their lad, Dobbin, he got booked for a blatant shove on Johnson. We were getting a little bit niggly at times in there. Actually, a little bit niggly. He's got booked for that shove on Johnson, and yet that Conor Hourihan he stood at Martin right, didn't he? Referee's 10 yards away. He don't do it. Don't pull him up, don't have a word with him. I mean, I think he's looking to Stamp Park. It's a terrible, terrible challenge. And he knows what he's doing and all, because his foot, when he goes in, his foot's down. Studs are showing, but his foot's down. And then after he just got a little bit of ball, he actually lifts his studs up into his shin. And it's a deliberate manoeuvre, and it's a shithouse manoeuvre. It really is. It's a shocking tackle. Shocking. That's a shithouse tackle, that. Absolute shithouse. Could have done him. He went off about a minute after that, Martin. Whether it would have the lasting impact of that tackle, I don't know, or whether Dad and Mo were just looking to change it anyway, but be interesting to see what his shins look like in morning. Terrible. Bird gets booked. It's a blatant pull back, gives a free kick away about 40 yards out, and Bannon, sort of wedges it in there. And Derby, from their point of view, it should be bread and butter defending to him, and it's just lofted in there. It should be a cleared head away. Delibashiro manages to bring it down, and he sort of juggles. He's got 4 men round him. He somehow does a couple of little kick-ups and manages to get through. And I can't finish be better. He sort of puts it straight at Wildsmith. It's a half-decent stop, but it's straight at him. I think Delbishiro's a bit shocked that he's got through, because he's got absolutely no right to get through. From a defending point of view, their coaches would be going mad, because he's got his back to goal, a couple of little juggles, I mean, it's not Frank Worthington.
Gowling under it. Worthington now from Gowling's around Worthington.
But do you know what I mean? He wiggles through there and gets a shot away. Stockdale gets caught out with a lazy pass out to full-back position. Thought we get away with that one, and then it's just a game of poor passing, really. I thought they edged first half. second half a bit more even. Like I said, some niggles going in. Horan again takes Delabashiru down, actually. No booking. No. How he's getting away with it, I do not know. And probably last 10 minutes, I thought Wednesday, they were a stopping play. Everybody's having a drink, and probably 10 minutes after that, Wednesday started playing like getting the passing going, getting it zipped about, and I just thought, if we'd started like that, we'd have probably won. Suddenly it's crisp, it's little 1-2s, it's give and go, suddenly movement's better, passing's that bit sharp, and last 10 minutes I thought we probably had it. And I was like, oh God, I just wish we could have started like that. So, yeah, 0-0. Not a great deal of talking points, and obviously we've missed opportunity to go top. But we've gained ground, haven't we? Really, we've got that point, so we've gained ground on Plymouth. We're still where we are in terms of Ipswich. It's clawing it away, aren't we? It's another clean sheet against a bogey side for us. All in all, I think we've got to be pleased with that. Worrying thing though is these injuries again. Now obviously being without Windass and Gregory today in terms of being on park, and I do think we miss Gregory. I think we miss his link play, I think we miss his hold up play, but equally I know a lot of people don't like Windass when he's up front and prefer him in a midfield or a wide role, but that pace, especially away from home, that pace and that willingness to drive on and try and get in behind defenders and play and shoulder, I think we did miss that today. But the big one that's really, sort of put me about is Ehekwe. Now, apparently he strained ligaments in his knee. No operation apparently as such at the moment, but it looks like it could be a case of months. That's a huge blow. He's been probably, I was just going back through my notes before I started recording this, he's probably my top 2 players at season so far. He had a ropey 2 games, probably in possession at ball, more than his defending. I think his defending's been stout all the way through. And I just thought he'd really come back into form as well the last couple of games. The last game, he's heading, when it were backstop wall against Shrewsbury, his heading, tackling, blocking, I thought he was absolutely fantastic. I thought he was everything you want in a centre half in this division. And we've been playing this sort of hybrid system where sometimes it's a 5, sometimes it's a 4. And I thought things were just settling down, and I just thought, I think there's potential here, and I think Gaffer's probably seen it as well. I think there's potentially for McGuinness and Ehekwe to form a 2, to form a partnership as a 2 and say, right, Reece James left back, Palmer at right back, or Iofa, and have them 2 as a solid central pairing. And I thought the signs were just starting to come to fruition there, and then this. Now, I said the other week before Shrewsbury actually, we're talking about January transfer window. I know 1 or 2 people would like another striker in or another pacey player or whatever. But for me, it's been centre half all along. I know I've got for Maywell back, but I still wanted to have another centre half on top of that. This with Ehekwe now makes that absolute priority number 1. I won't be bothered if we didn't really get another player in, but we must get a centre half in January now. We can't afford another injury. I mean, we played 2 fullbacks at centre half today, first half, when we played 3. We've got to get a centre half in. Gordon Bennett, we're finishing on a negative. Let's look at table instead. A little bit more cheery. Yeah, it would have been nice to go top, wouldn't it? But we're still well placed in there. Clawed another point back on Plymouth. We're only 2 points behind them now. Only a point behind Ipswich. Like I said the other week, these are going to drop points, same as we were dropping odd one at the beginning of the year. Easily. Well, goal difference is good. Look at that defence. That's what's going to keep us in good stead there, that defence. As long as we can get another body in, I think we'll do it, mate. I do honestly, I think we'll do it. That's right. You've got to believe. Speaking of believe, I'm going to go to bed. Only got about 6 hours before England beat Senegal, haven't we?